I was looking to take away the pain, the physical pain, the mental pain, anything that was going to help me deal in my own mind to take away the pain that I was going through. I adored playing, getting up every day, whether it was jumping over to the park, because we still had ice in the park. I mean, that's, some of the younger generation don't remember just jumping over and skating on a sheet of ice. Or I have a lot of more fond memories of just grabbing a lacrosse ball and just firing the ball back and forth against the wall. Those are some of the fondest memories that I have. I mean, I grew up in Mimico, and a park was across the street. There was a schoolyard, so there was endless places to play baseball, lacrosse, hockey, and there's always kids in the neighborhood. So I think from the moment that I got up in the morning, it was sports oriented. Lacrosse in the summertime, hockey in the wintertime, baseball in between, or whatever it was going on. My father coached a lot of lacrosse, so I was around junior A lacrosse, midget lacrosse, and I was very blessed to have some older gentlemen who are still in my life as, role models. My dad was an athlete, my mom was an athlete, so I was blessed with some pretty great genes. But it was something that I loved. I mean, getting up. There was always sports in the neighborhood and a lot of great kids. So, to say I had a God-given ability, I had a passion for the game, and just a great environment growing up in Mimico with great parents, great family, and great friends. And as you move up, you get to a certain age, certain things were starting to happen. I mean, I remember when I was 13 or 14, the OHL Marlies were asking me to come to training camp and stuff like that. I don't think I realized how much it was, but I think my parents were starting to. Well, I remember saying one day, I knew this was going to happen, I just didn't think this was going to happen this quick. And I think going to play Junior B at Henry Carr when I was 14 years old, turning 15, and I led the Metro Junior B, that league doesn't exist anymore, in points. And then being rated high in the OHL draft, I mean, that's when you're starting to feel these things are coming on. And things really start to speed up. And then, of course, the OHL draft came up, and you're rated for number 1, number 2, number 3 in the OHL draft. That's you start to get pretty excited about that. That day, I knew I was going to Windsor, because at that particular time it was between Kirk Muller and myself who was going to be drafted number 1. Jeff Brown was going to go to Sudbury because they're going to draft a defenseman. It's funny, some of the politics that at that particular time. So it didn't take anything away from the thrill, because I got down to meet Marcel Pronovost, who was not just a great NHL player, but just a beautiful human being. So they're great memories. Mom dropped me off, so I think it's just like any parent when they drop their kid off. She was a little bit nervous about dropping her. I'm an only child, so, and my dad was working, so she took me to Windsor and hung out for a day, watched training camp. And the 80s OHL training camps were a little bit different than they are today. They're a little bit rougher. I think there's a fight every shift and whatever it may be. But Mom was good. Mom was always very, very supportive to whatever it may be. I gave my mom a hug, and it was just like, okay, I was homesick in a week, but I'm not coming home. You're following your dreams. I remember the quote that I was going to be the next Brian Bellows at that particular time. Like, they said, this is the kid that's going to be the savior to the Windsor Spitfires franchise. And then the season started, and I had a minor injury, and I had to sit out a little bit. And it so I went from that part where I hit the ice running to, oh, this is a little bit different right now. So as the season went on, I did start to struggle a little bit. It was a really, really tough year. But the first year away from home was a tough one, with a lot of great life lessons. I learned an awful lot my first year. There was a lot of pressure, because you'd gone from, the red carpet being rolled out to you and dominating training camp and Articles written about you until, okay, Spitfires are sitting in 5th, they're sitting in 6th place. What happened to Graeme Bonar? He's supposed to be the one that comes in here. You'd hear some nasty words for a 15, 16-year-old kid. There was a lot of pressure that I was under, and I struggled with it. But the second year coming in, there was more promise. I felt a whole lot better. Again, dominated training camp. Great bunch of guys in a great city, great arena, but the morale wasn't there. And I knew I was getting traded. Got called in, said I was going to Sault Ste. Marie, right? So it was just like, whoa. Excited, nervous, all those same feelings start to come up again. You're going to a new place, but you're going to a winning team. I mean, I played against the Sault Greyhounds before I was a Greyhound, and they were a tough team. Going into the Sault, looking across the ice, and there was some pretty tough guys there, and the place was always packed. So it was a period of another period of adjustment. It's things didn't work out here, but here's a new opportunity. So, but all of a sudden you're behind the bench, and Terry Crisp is crazy redhead, yelling and screaming, and he was the best person for Graeme Bonar at that particular time. At the beginning of the year, I was rated to go in the top 8. As even though I didn't have a great draft here, I was still very, very highly touted. But I was on a good team, and it was more about team then.
Probert giving it to Bonar. Bonar scores! Graeme Bonar, what a shot!
So my draft year, I ended up going to Montreal in the 3rd round. I was disappointed because I was supposed to go. At one time, I was rated 5th, then 17th, and then all of a sudden it's the 3rd round. And I mean, 3rd round to Montreal Canadiens, which is 54th overall, would be 2nd round now. But coming from where I was, it was a bit disappointing. Shane Corson, Stefan Richer, Patrick Waugh, Graeme Bonar. So talk about a powerhouse. So I went from a disappointment in the draft as a 3rd rounder to the steal of the draft. That's hockey, right? I was 6'3", I was fast, I could shoot, I could score. And back then, everyone fought, everyone was tough. I mean, it wasn't, like Bob Probert tough or Jeff Bukaboom tough or whatever it may be, but everyone was tough back then. That was part of the game. So I had gone to Montreal's camp and played in 8 or 9 exhibition games, so really gained a lot of experience there. We were tough, but very, very, very talented. And that's year we went 33-0. I'd led the league in goals, 66. Wayne Gruel had 59. Bob Probert had 20, and that was our big line. We took off right off the bat. We knew that this is a team that could go places. It's a steel town, and when things are good, they tell you it's good, and when things aren't good, they tell you they're not so good. And that's the kindest way that I can say it, because they'll let you know that things aren't that great. I mean, that place was jammed all the time. And like I said, it was an intimidating place to come into. When you come in on a Sunday night or a Friday night and there's 10 feet of snow and the steel mill is just cranking out heat and you're looking across saying, I knew, because I knew players on the other team were saying, we just want to get the heck out of here, right? And Terry Crisp used to say, these will be the best years of your life, don't miss it. Now, guys have gone on and had great NHL careers. Guys have gone on to become lawyers, pharmacists, whatever it may be. But that connection of playing in that community, they say the same thing. Those are the best years of my life. We had gone, 39 games without losing. So we went undefeated during the season. Our first game in the OHL final, we tied. Peterborough came in and tied. Game 2, in the Sault, they beat us, right? So all this momentum going on, it's just like the Gladiators of the Sault have tied and lost a game. It was one of the best OHL finals. There's always this strong foundation, but they'd never won. So it was 1985, we finally not only gave them the gift of an OHL championship, we gave them the gift of being undefeated at home. And looking back at it now, pretty special times. when you go to Montreal, you get a number 50 and up because all the numbers are retired. So this year I went and number 29 was sitting in the dressing room and had Bonar across the back. And I said, oh, well, I'm here. My time has arrived. I separated my collarbone first, and I had broken my wrist really bad. So within about 8 months, I had surgery done on my hand, separated my collarbone. So I went down to Sherbrooke, which was the American League team. I actually got called up, but I played the game in Halifax. So back then you'd get the call, and I had a freak injury. A guy fell on my ankle, and I messed up my Achilles, the inside of my ankle, and it was never, ever the same after. So I heard that, okay, you're going to go to rehab, you're going to get this fixed up. You'll be ready to go in 6 weeks or 4 weeks, but it never healed. Then I had surgery on it, exploratory surgery. It just never came back to. Well, for a hockey player, if you can't skate, you're a race car driver and you got no wheels. I mean, you're out of the game, so to speak. I mean, I was able to bounce around a little bit and play on one leg on talent because I could score. I had hands. Wherever I went, I was going to put the puck in the net, but I was also going to get hurt because you can't skate at that level, even in the American League. On one leg. I was in severe pain for a good 2 or 3 years with it because I was trying to play and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. I mean, and I saw enough different doctors. It just never came back. It was just one of those things, right? And it's it takes away your spirit, your soul, because it's something that you've been dreaming about your entire life, and it's just like it's gone. Now what's going on? That's when things did start to struggle. Okay, now that is my identity, much similar to what's going on there. So it's now what am I going to do? You don't know what's up now. I mean, you've been a hockey player your entire life. I mean, you've always contributed. You go through the different stages of, okay, I'm letting my team down because I can't score. I'm letting my family and friends down because they've been following me for years and years. But when you're winning and you're in it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect you as long as you're still contributing. It's when you stop being able to contribute, that's when you feel like a number. When you're part of the machine and it's finally tuned and oiled and you're scoring 50, 60, 70 goals, I mean, you don't feel too left out. Right. It's when, the bus leaves and you're not on it and you're at home and you can't sleep because you got ice on your ankle and stuff like that. That's when you start to feel a little bit left out and your identity goes away. Right. Alcohol was always a part of the game at any level. I mean, it's. I suffer from the disease of more, as I say, right? I mean, I'm able to laugh about this stuff now, but I mean, building up to it, because if it's going to be more, I want more. If I'm going to score 5 goals, I'm going to score 10 goals. If I'm going to go out and train, I'm going to be the best shaped person that there's going to be. But in the beginning, to where I was starting, I mean, I was in physical pain with my ankle. Like it was nonstop. Like people would look at my ankle and see the size of it and say, "What the heck's going on there?" And in the beginning, you do take it in a healthy way because, I mean, you are trying to get better. But I do suffer from the disease of more. But, I mean, it really is the disease of addiction. But I was looking to take away the pain, the physical pain, the mental pain, anything that was going to help me deal in my own mind to take away the pain that I was going through because I didn't know who I was. I got lost. You'd end up not liking yourself because, like I had mentioned earlier, you think that you're letting your family down. You're not a part of something anymore. At least you don't think that you are, because when you're part of a team, there's nothing better. All of a sudden, you're at home hanging around with people, and they're saying, "Hey, aren't you playing hockey? You know what's going on?" So you're dealing with the physical pain, the emotional pain, and the trauma of not knowing who you are and what you're going to do now. You've been labeled as this hockey player and this happens to lots of guys. I just wasn't prepared for it. It's a really lonely place to be. And you want to talk to people, but you can't. At that particular time, there wasn't a whole lot of outlets of places not that there was lots of people that were there to want to help me. I wasn't ready to want to ask for help either. For anyone who goes through what I went through, or anyone who goes through addiction, picking up the phone and asking for help is a tough thing to do. Even though once you do it, once you surrender and say, hey, I need some help here, everyone's journey is different with it. I mean, I just got to a place where I knew that there was something going on, but I was afraid. I had just lost all my self-esteem and my self-worth, and I didn't know what I was going to do. What am I going to do now? Asking for help seemed like a weakness, that anything else that I've done, I've been able to rise above it. But you can't do that on your own. You have to surrender. I had to surrender that this thing is something that I can't beat on my own, and I'm going to need some help to work my way through this. There was a series of things that was going on for Graeme that, a couple of impaired driving charges. And this was like in 1989 and 90, I think I should have got the message then. I was always well liked, and I was a good person. I just didn't know that I was a good person anymore. So I could go into a room and entertain 20, 30, 100, 200 people, but I'd be lonely. I'd be lonely as heck on the inside. But no one knew that, because I talk about that today, and people said, oh, you seem so happy. But anyone who goes through what we go through knows the insecurities, the self-esteem issues, the shame, the trauma, the things that we have to work through to try to figure out who we were. My mom saved my life. Without my mom in the rooms of NACA, I went to treatment for 123 days. I had a lot of stuff I had to work out. I'm a lucky guy. I've been doing this almost 25 years now. I get to work with people, and they trust me. And I get to do some work with them that I wasn't able to do at that particular time in my life. Because as good as the treatment was for me, it was a timing thing, because when I decided to get clean, I thought that I was going to die. I was afraid to die. I was afraid to live. I had to ask for help, because I wouldn't be here today. That's where I was going. Like I had said earlier, I had the disease of more. Anything that, whether it was alcohol, painkillers, whatever it may be, I needed that to get through my day. I'm so blessed today that I was able to have there's a lot of good people that were there for me, but I wasn't ready to accept the help. Because it is something that you have to take charge of. You have to be willing to change your life and be open to change. And I'm very, very fortunate to that. But like I said earlier, without my mom in the rooms of NA and CA and treatment, I wouldn't be here today. The longer you stick around in this world, especially in sobriety, the more gifts come your way. Like, I'm a grandfather. My parents are still in my life. I've got a wonderful partner here, Kim. A lot of special things, gifts just keep coming your way that wouldn't have come my way if I would have kept doing what I was doing. I wouldn't be alive, right? So I received a gift 25 years ago of a new life in sobriety. And I get to get up every morning and be kind and gentle and be the best person that I can be. Those are important things for Graeme today. Because there was a time when I wasn't kind and gentle, because I was incapable of giving and receiving love. Because if the most important thing for you to get up in the morning is to use drugs or have a drink, you're not spiritually connected, right? So that gift has enabled me to become a really, really cool father, as I'll say to my daughter Chantel, and she'll laugh about that one. But we have a great relationship, because although my daughter never seen me under the influence, I just wasn't around her. So we can minimize or justify that by saying that. No, but I wasn't a father. Today I am a father, and today I'm a grandfather. And that's what the gift of recovery has given me. Because you didn't think when you're 5 years old, but putting your hands up in the air, scoring the winning goal to win the Stanley Cup, say, I'm going to be an addictions counselor or a trauma specialist or a social worker. You're dreaming about, hitting a home run in the World Series, or scoring the Stanley Cup winning goal, or, scoring the winning goal in a lacrosse game to win the Man Cup, or stuff like that, or just looking up in the stands and seeing your parents for the first time saying, hey, look, I'm standing up on skates. But you are. But I remember a guy come up to me and saying, and he was a really, really shy guy, and it just, the gentleman just said, I don't know anything about hockey. He says, but there's no way that you could be as good a hockey player as you are as a person and a counselor, because I've never trusted a person as much as I trusted you. Now that's, you get a lot of stories like that. So paying it forward, just trying to be a good human being. I know what it was like to feel like I wanted to die. And knowing that you're going to let down the same people that you felt that you let down because your hockey career ended. You didn't know who you were. And what if I do die? There's going to be a carnage of people along the way. But I mean, in the end, it was you let yourself down before anything else, right? And today, I get to get up in the morning and spread a little bit of experience, strength, and hope, and hopefully some person gets a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and that's a heck of a gift. That's a heck of a gift. I'm just blessed, I truly am, that I get to get up in the morning and help people, even though there's some really, really tough days, because we lose a lot of people to this disease every single day, the disease of addiction. So if I can get up one day and help somebody or be a part of that, I'm totally blessed. The letters you get from the mother saying, thank you for giving me my son back. I haven't seen my son in 15 years. That's stuff. It's not stuff. You can't put words, and there's not a big enough bow tie or ribbon that you put on that stuff. So people just want to be heard. They want to feel a part of something. Because the whole reason that we get caught up in using drugs or alcohol is because we don't like who we are. We drink and use to feel a part of something. People need to feel loved and be a part of something. Discovery is recovery. Most people just think you just put the plug in the jug or throw the pills in the toilet and flush it away. No, you get to be reborn as a new person every single day and get up. And that's what inspires me, to get up every day, to be the best person that I can be. And because people think, what makes you jive? That must be really hard or whatever it is. Yeah, it's hard. It was a lot harder getting up every day being drunk or dope sick, the pain. I've taken pucks off the face. I've my teeth knocked out. I've had over 200 stitches in my face, 9 concussions. That's nothing, right? Getting up every day and doing what I'm doing, it's beautiful.